Hi, and welcome to this informational session about the Certificate in Grant Writing course through Seattle Central College. I'm here today to tell you about the certificate program and answer any questions you might have. Please feel free to contact me and we can talk about your career goals and whether this is the right course for you. This certificate is held quarterly, and the dates are listed in the video notes below. Space is limited, and that's because I really want to optimize the group's learning experience. I feel like if we have too many people, it just gets a little unwieldy. So I do encourage you to register as soon as possible. My name is Allison Jones, and I'm a grant writing professor at Seattle Central, Western Washington University, and Evergreen College. I'm also the founder and CEO of Spark the Fire grant writing classes, where you can find more courses on grant writing and freelancing. I've been writing grants since I graduated from college with my BA in psychology, and one of my first jobs was working at a homeless shelter. My case manager liked my case notes, thought I was doing a great job, asked me, hey, would you take a stab at rewriting the policy and procedure manual? And I said, sure. And then after that, it was grants. And that just launched my career into grant writing. And I am so thankful because I believe that grant writing is one of the most fulfilling and rewarding jobs that are out there. I've raised millions of dollars for causes that I really care about. I've also worked as a nonprofit executive director, a grants manager, freelance grant writer, and a nonprofit consultant. As a freelance grant writer, I always had way more requests for services than I could possibly have time to fulfill, and so I started teaching grant writing. I taught my first class at the local library, and I fell in love with teaching grant writing. So I went back to school. I got my master's degree in education with an emphasis on adult education, and I am very into using brain-based learning to make sure that the courses are interactive. We do problem-based and case-based discussions. It's very hands-on and experiential. I also review grants for several foundations and government entities, and so I know what it's like to be on the other side of the table. I know what I look for when I review grants, and I'm able to share that knowledge with you as well. I've taught grant writing classes in so many different formats, from that first time at the library to, an all-day boot camp to a 2-day boot camp. And well, over the years, I found that the very best format for teaching a grant writing course is just like this. It's an 8-week course so that you have time to digest the information that you learn each week and then practice actually writing the grant in between the sessions. So this is an online course with an experiential format. You'll actually write a grant proposal for the cause of your choice. There are 8 weekly video conferences where we dive into case-based and problem-based discussion. These are not times for lectures. These are interactive, cameras on, full participation. So you will have a learning cohort that you interact with during the course and during the Zooms. We'll also do peer review, meaning that you'll be able to read every other student's work and other students will be reading yours, so that you can benefit from putting that the hat on of a grant reviewer and think about what would I rate for this grant proposal that I'm looking at. And it's going to give you ideas for your grant proposal, and it's going to make you a better writer. So each week you're going to add to your grant proposal. So by the end of the course, you're going to have a complete grant proposal that's ready to go for your writing portfolio, and or with the permission of the nonprofit organization, be submitted and maybe even get your first grant. So when organizations hire grant writers, the main thing that they look at is excellent writing samples. So a stellar grant proposal in your portfolio is a must. You're going to use information on the web to research your organization of choice. If you already work for a government entity, a school, a university, a nonprofit organization, of course you can go ahead and write the proposal for the organization you're working with. But if you don't, then you're going to follow up your research, your online research, by interviewing somebody at the nonprofit to gain more information for your proposal. And I said nonprofit, but I should have said organization, because you can write for any organization that you want to. It doesn't have to be a nonprofit. All right, so earning the certificate. To earn the certificate, I really need you to show up for those Zoom meetings. If something comes up and you can't be there, I always record them. So I just ask that you go back and watch the recording and write just a short, less than 1 page synopsis of what we talked about, and email that to me for course credit. Earning the certificate also requires that you write this complete grant proposal. I'm going to give you the application form that you're going to fill out. So everyone's working on the same actual grant proposal. Everyone's project will be different, but there's rubrics for each writing assignment that you write, meaning you're going to have a cheat sheet to how each assignment is assessed, and that way there should be no question about what you're supposed to be doing when you write, and you'll get your writing assignment accepted, and then you can move on to the next section of the proposal. So there's really no reason that you wouldn't earn the certificate unless you just didn't do the work. If you don't do the writing, you're not going to earn the certificate. That's fair, right? So you'll also receive feedback and help from your peers, and by the end of the 8 weeks, you're going to feel really confident about how grant writing works. And actually, a lot of people say they have a lot more knowledge into how organizations like nonprofits work too. So I do have to warn you that you have to be careful, because knowing how to write grants is like owning a truck. Everybody wants to be your friend. So you're going to have to learn to set boundaries to not get overwhelmed. You'll never run out of work. And we're going to talk about the grant profession in just a minute. But grant writers are in extremely high demand right now. There's ample job opportunities for beginners and advanced grant writers, and freelancers out there currently have wait lists for their services. So you'll be in a great upcoming field. So here's the calendar for the class. We're going to meet on Tuesdays, and you can choose to meet from 12 to 1 p.m. or 5 to 6 p.m. Pacific time. The first Zoom is the course introduction and orientation, and that's on January 23rd. The second Zoom, we're going to talk about using the logic model and how to write the organizational description. The next week, we're going to dive into the community needs statement, why it matters, and talk about how to conduct a literature review to cite articles that are going to back up our case. In week 4, we learn about how to develop the project budget and make the ask. Weeks 5 and 6 are dedicated to the project description, and that's a good chance to make sure everyone's caught up and on track. Week 7 is all about evaluation, how we determine if the project is successful. And then in week 8, we're going to cover ethics, all the documentation that gets submitted with the grant application, and building relationships with grant makers so that you continue to get grants year after year. Then you have one more week to put the final touches on your grant proposal and get it turned in. This course is a professional certification. It's not something that you put behind your name like a degree, but it's something that you add to your LinkedIn profile. Think of it like a certificate in leadership or in project management. These are skills that you can't specifically get a degree in. There's no degree in grant writing, but they're highly sought after. Adding a certificate in grant writing to your resume offers you a clear and direct career boost from your studies. There's 2 professional certifications for grant writers, which do involve putting that credential behind your name. Those are the Grant Professional Certificate, the GPC, and the CFRE, Certified Fundraising Executive. So to earn those credentials, you have to have a few years experience doing the work under your belt. You take a knowledge exam, and you have to have a lot of continuing education points. Guess what? This course is going to count for 24 of the points that you need to get those credentials. So if you do decide to go seek out getting your GPC or your CFRE, you're going to have most of the credits needed to earn that certificate. And this course is excellent preparation for those exams. So the total number of CEUs that you need for those credentials depends on your current education level. If you're a bachelor's degree or higher, you need less continuing education units than if you don't. So Spark the Fire grant writing classes is the entity that's accredited for those certification, and I am the approved trainer. And so if you register through Seattle Central, you'll also get a certificate from Spark the Fire, because that's going to be the one that's got those additional credentials on there in case you want to go for your CFRE or your GPC. This course has been rated by Instrumental as one of the best grant writing classes in the nation for actually 3 years running. I don't have the logo up there with the 2024, but I've already received notice that we've been chosen once again. So 3 years running. This is an excellent grant writing course, and the reason why is because it really is unique that you write a grant proposal during this course. There's a lot of courses out there where you listen videos and take it in, but no one's following up and reading your writing and giving you that individualized feedback on what you've written to let you know if you're nailing it or if you have a little bit more improvement to go. I think I mentioned that this course is $6.99 this quarter, and I do want to give you a heads up that those prices are increasing simply because the courses are filled up every single quarter. There's more demand, and so we're going to raise the prices so that we can get the class size down a little bit. This is a non-credit course in terms of college education points. So here's a little bit about what it means to be a grant professional. Each year, the Grant Professionals Association does a survey of all grant writers, and they give information through anonymous reports. And so, for example, I inputted my information in here as well. You can see from this report that the average salary for a grant writer is $77,000, ranging from about $61,000 for the title of grant writer to over $100,000 for consultants, freelance grant writers. Most grant writers report spending 40% of their time on grants and 30% of their time managing grants, writing grant reports, and the other 30% is on other administrative duties. Most grant writers write about 21 grants per year, so at least, almost one per month, of which 65% are awarded. Boy, I just did my math wrong. I should have said almost 2 per month. 79% of grant writers work full-time, 17% are consultants, and 5% work part-time. Grant writers are a variety of ages. 13% are early career, 40% mid-career, 47% are advanced career. 29% have a bachelor's degree, 51% have a master's degree, and 16% have a doctorate. 25% work at a nonprofit organization, 12% work for the government, 10% work for colleges and universities, and 6% work for K-12 schools. Finally, the majority of grant professionals actually don't have any grant professional certification, so that means that you're going to really stand out by having one. 12% of grant writers have that GPC we talked about, 5% have the CFRE, and 8% have a certificate like this one, which is through a college program or through a company like Spark the Fire grant writing classes. So I'd like to share with you some success stories. Almost every day I get to hear from my former students about their successes. I love staying in touch with my students and becoming your lifelong cheerleader. But these success stories highlight how having this certification is likely going to propel your career significantly. So this is Nancy. She took the certificate in grant writing course a couple quarters ago, and within a month of completing the course, she was promoted to the grants communication specialist at the Evergreen Goodwill of Northwest Washington, and she's super happy to be there. This is Annie Dimitri. She significantly increased the amount of grants awarded for her organization. After taking the course, she secured over $500,000 in grants within 1 year. This is Hope. Hope works for the Confederated Tribes of the Chehalis Reservation. Her department had never received grant funding before she started this course, and within 12 months of completing it, her department received $274,000 in grants, which made up 45% of her department's annual budget. So that means that she gets to spend more time doing what she loves, being outside as a biologist. And last, I wanted to tell you about Lee. Lee completed the course and was hired. She got her dream job as a grant writing manager for the American Cancer Society, and she is living there. She moved away to go take this position, and she's super happy. So grant writers are definitely in high demand. There's a lot of careers out there, and this course is going to prepare you so that you know exactly what you need to do to be successful. Technical requirements for this course: obviously you're going to need a computer with word processing software, either Microsoft Word, or I'm really favoring Google Docs right now because I can look at your work as you continue to write, and it all lives in the cloud, so that's pretty cool. We're going to have, the Zoom meetings, so having the free Zoom video conference app, make sure it's updated. You only need a free account, a webcam, something on your computer so that you can turn your camera on, or you can use a smartphone or tablet with the Zoom app downloaded. And I highly recommend using Grammarly. It's a cloud-based editing software, and if you just run your writing through Grammarly before you submit it to me, it's just going to help catch all those little typos and grammatical spelling errors, if any, and that way that when I'm looking at your writing, I can really focus on the content of what you're writing instead of grammar errors, which can be distracting. So if you can get a paid account, because it also catches things like the tone of your writing, you can ask it to help you write more persuasively. You can make sure that you're writing with action verbs instead of passive verbs, and so on and so forth. But a free account is excellent too. So I'm really excited to work with you all. I hope you'll go ahead and register for the course. Our communities, and especially our rural communities, really need grant writers right now, and this course will prepare you for those roles. So if you have any questions, or if you want to talk about the course, like I said earlier, if you want to talk about your career goals and find out if this is going to be the right course for you, please reach out. There's a lot of classes available online. Whatever class you choose, I highly encourage you to choose a class in which you actually write a grant proposal and receive feedback on your writing. I don't believe you can learn how to write grants with actually writing a grant proposal and finding out what you're doing right and what needs improvement. So I hope to see you soon, and have an awesome day. Bye.